Hey, what's up, gamers? Welcome back to NickPlays, your go-to channel for all things PS5. Today, we've got an epic lineup that will have you glued to your screens and your trigger fingers ready for action. We're counting down the top 10 best first-person shooter games on PS5 that you absolutely need to play. These games are packed with intense action, incredible graphics, and mind-blowing storylines that will keep you hooked from start to finish. So without further ado, let's dive right in. At number 10, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Call of Duty may no longer be the behemoth that it once was, but for many, it remains the go-to franchise when it comes to FPS gaming. To be fair, the multiplayer experience on offer in both the series' most recent mainline installment and the latest iteration of Warzone is still a lot of fun. Call of Duty is able to provide something extra though, that being a fantastic single-player campaign that fans of FPS games will absolutely adore. With this in mind, and with DICE having dropped the ball with Battlefield 2042, those looking for the best FPS games on the PlayStation 5 could certainly do a lot worse than Modern Warfare 3. Coming in at number 9, it's Borderlands 3. Another game that struggles to live up to the lofty standards set by its predecessors. Borderlands 3 suffers from a rather bad case of cringe writing, with some of the game's dialogue so bad that players may well prefer to mute it altogether. However, the rest of the game more than makes up for this, reminding players why so many consider Borderlands to be the king of the looter shooter. Released 14 months on from the PS4 version, the PlayStation 5 version of Borderlands 3 brings improvements across the board, with better visuals, higher frame rates, and faster loading times being chief among them. The game's next-gen versions also allow for up to 4-player local co-op, doubling the number of players supported in the PS4 and Xbox One versions. Number 8 is Cyberpunk 2077. When most people think of first-person shooters, their minds usually go to classic arena shooters like Doom and Quake, or more recent online multiplayer games that center around team deathmatch or the battle royale game mode. Cyberpunk 2077 is none of those things, yet remains one of the best first-person shooters on the PS5. Despite being a single-player experience, the game still features some of the best gunplay out there, and backs this up with a fantastic story that takes place in one of the most immersive digital settings of all time. With its buggy days now long behind it, those looking for a great PS5 shooter game would do well to check it out if they haven't already. Sliding in at number 7, Apex Legends. Apex Legends has come a long way since its initial release back in early 2019, with a flurry of new features and general improvements helping to transform the title into one of the most played video games of all time. More than 130 million people had tried the free-to-play title as of February 2022, placing it somewhere between League of Legends and Grand Theft Auto 5 on the highest player count list. Like many other free-to-play FPS games, Apex Legends falls into the battle royale genre, with loot boxes and microtransactions helping to subsidize the cost of development. Unlike a lot of its peers though, the game opts to focus more on realism and tight gunplay, which has helped it to carve out a place in what remains a hugely competitive space. At number 6, we have RoboCop Rogue City. Some critics didn't appreciate the simplicity of RoboCop Rogue City, while others bemoaned a supposed lack of graphical fidelity. However, for fans of over-the-top action games that make players feel as though they're controlling the physical embodiment of a one-man army, this is easily one of the best FPS PlayStation 5 games around. Though it will undoubtedly appeal most to fans of the popular 80s franchise and classic action movies in general, RoboCop Rogue City has a lot more than just nostalgia going on for it. Unlike many modern FPS games where players zip around using grappling hooks or other map traversal techniques, players move at a slow and steady pace, helping to make every action and reaction feel all the more deliberate. Halfway through at number 5, it's Metro Exodus Enhanced Edition. Initially released in early 2019, Metro Exodus is a first-person shooter with survival and stealth mechanics. Although it is the third game in a trilogy, players don't really need to have played the first two titles to enjoy its excellent gameplay, nor to understand its excellent narrative. Like its predecessors, Metro Exodus is single-player only, which actually makes for a nice change of pace given the huge volume of multiplayer FPS games. As one might expect, the enhanced edition of Metro Exodus offers several improvements over the base version, all of which can have a noticeable impact on the gameplay experience. Chief among these are the improvements made to frame rate, with the game now running at a buttery smooth 60 FPS. Strangely, despite physical copies of the game being available at all good retailers, Metro Exodus Complete Edition cannot be purchased from the PlayStation Store, with players instead needing to buy the game's Gold Edition and then download a free upgrade. At number 4 is Pistol Whip. Despite having initially been released way back in late 2019, Pistol Whip remains one of the most satisfying virtual reality experiences of all time. It's one of the best PSVR 2 games too, and a shining example of how the technology can be used to really bring the FPS genre and first-person experiences in general to life. Rather than being a straight-up shooter though, Pistol Whip incorporates rhythm game elements, a combination that works surprisingly well. Players are given a wide variety of guns to play around with, and plenty of great stages in which to do so. There are loads of accessibility options as well, making this an excellent title for both beginners and experts alike. Coming in at number 3, Destiny 2. With Sony hoping to move into the live service space over the course of the next few years, the Japanese giant's decision to purchase Bungie in mid-2022 makes an awful lot of sense. Unlike many of its peers, the former Halo developer knows exactly what is needed to make the games as a service model work, as evidenced by the continuing success of Destiny 2. The free-to-play title still boasts a sizable player base despite having first released back in 2017. Of course, a big part of this is down not just to the excellent post-release support provided by Bungie, but also to the title's fantastic core gameplay. Destiny 2 is easily one of the best first-person shooters on the PS5, and with at least one more big expansion still to come, before the end of the Light and Darkness saga, that seems unlikely to change anytime soon. At number 2, it's Deathloop. Although Deathloop does feature online multiplayer support, it's not in the way that most players would assume. Rather than high-octane team deathmatches or frantic battle royale action, players will only have to worry about a single opponent, or a single target if they happen to be the one joining another player's session. It's a bit like the player versus player multiplayer on offer in many From Software games in that respect, only much more well realized. Although the everlasting showdown between Juliana and Colt works incredibly well, it is only a small part of what makes Deathloop such a fantastic game. Its story is thought-provoking, and its combat is both intuitive and satisfying. In many ways, it feels like a natural progression from some of Arcane's past games, particularly those from the Dishonored series. And finally, taking the top spot at number 1, we have Doom Eternal. There are a lot of great first-person shooters on the PlayStation 5, but there is only one Doom Eternal. Building on the excellent foundations laid by its 2016 predecessor, the game manages to hit all the right notes, with its brutal and bloody combat helping to make hell feel a lot more hospitable than it has any right to feel. One of the biggest new mechanics found in Doom Eternal is the grappling hook, which makes map traversal an absolute breeze. Unlike a lot of other games though, the grapple mechanic can also be worked into combat, helping players to string together attacks with an unparalleled degree of fluidity. Given how important Doom and ID Software are to the genre, Doom Eternal being one of the best FPS games on the PS5 should surprise no one, but the sheer brilliance of what exactly is on offer here just might. That's it for today's countdown. Let me know in the comments which games you're excited to play, or if there's any game you think should have made the list. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more awesome PS5 content. Thanks for watching NickPlays, and I'll see you in the next video. Game on!